am excited to introduce Janelle Barlow. Janelle has helped organizations around the world transform how they handle customer feedback. We never get customer feedback, do we? So I'm excited to listen to what Janelle has to share with everybody. She's got a PhD from UC Berkeley and experience living around the world across 40 countries. We're definitely going to ask some questions about that later. But Janelle, welcome. And would you mind just opening up and sharing a little bit about yourself and your background with the group?
Well, let's see. I gave you a bunch of information, but you covered really the highlights. At this point, I'm mostly writing. I'm producing another set of books on complaint handling. That's really become my emphasis now. I mean, I know that customer service and complaint handling are related. Absolutely, they're related.
100%, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on now. And but my approach totally is that complaints are gifts. And I know that they don't always feel like that. They feel like, oh God, go away, please. I don't need to deal with somebody like you. But in fact, it's the best way for us to form deeper relationships with people, because if we can work through those complaints, I mean, I think everybody here has understood that you've had complaints and you work through those, and now you have a really great deep relationship that's not going to end just because of the way you handle that complaint. And so complaints are gifts in that regard. They also tell you about what they don't like about you, and so that you can fix that if that's appropriate. So I mean, there's a number of different reasons why complaints are gifts, but that's really my emphasis. I like feedback.
Can you share with us how you got started in this?
Yeah, I have been working for actually decades on a variety of different topics, including customer service. And then in the organization that I was with, which is a Danish company, we started talking about complaints as gifts. And I said, you know, what we need is a book on that positions our company in relationships to complaints. And so I wrote that book with the head of the company. And that book now is in its third edition. It's called A Complaint is a Gift. And I want to say this, that concept of a complaint is a gift is so difficult for people. When I was out on the book tour schedule, and I would go into bookstores, and they would make an announcement, and Janelle Barlow is in the house, and she's going to be talking about her book, A Complaint is a Compliment. I can't tell you how many times people have announced me that way. They cannot get it in their head that a complaint could be a gift, and or a not a compliment, but a complaint could be a gift. And people really have a hard time with that. So I realized that there was something very significant there, and people haven't been working in that area at all. My book was one of the first big major books out. There's a few others out now, but it's my emphasis now, and I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's because it's difficult. Yes, when you get an upset customer, upset buyer, do you call them customers or buyers?
Well, sometimes they're sellers. So
Okay.
clients
Yeah.
usually, buyers,
Clients.
sellers. Mhm.
Right, right. But you don't call them customers.
No.
I mean, not usually an everyday conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
But a
good.
client is a customer. So it's very
Right. That's right.
relative.
It's
Yeah,
good to think about them that way because they're your
absolutely.
customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you best describe, when we get complaints? Actually, I find it hard to get complaints. Usually in our line of work, they just go away. The feedback is actually more difficult to get than many people think.
Mhm.
Um, but when we do get that, and you're dealing with frustration from a client, a customer, what's your best ways about turning that into a positive for that particular customer?
Right. But let me even address that first part of it, and that is, how do you get more of this feedback? Because
Great. Yes.
I mean, you really need to announce that right up front, and when you're establishing your relationship with them and how you want to work with them, to tell them that uh, it, absolutely what you want to do is to hear from them when something isn't working right, and you won't take it personally. You'll see it as a way for you to work through this. I mean, if you make those kinds of statements, let them know you want to hear from them. They'll be much more likely to say something to you. But it's amazing how many people don't like to give feedback. They just don't. I don't want to be seen as nasty. I don't want them to think I'm not a nice person. I'm thinking that. All those reasons. I mean, there's a gazillion reasons why people don't give feedback. And here's the initial piece of research that was done back in the late 1980s by a group out that was working with the US government. What they found was about 4% of people will actually will make a complaint. Now that covers the full range of all the things that we can complain about. And in real estate, it's probably a little bit higher because after all, it's a big purchase. And the moment that you get into a big purchase, you get more feedback. And also the fact that it's so personal for them. They're going to end up living in this house probably a long time. I mean, it could be their lives that they're going to live there. And so it just feels so big for them that well, okay, I'll say something, but you generally don't get the full range of what they're feeling. And complaint handling is such an emotional thing. It's difficult for the person who's complaining. It's difficult for the person who's receiving it. But 4%, now let me tell you what 4% is. 4% in statistical terms is non-existent.
Right. Very marginal, correct?
It's an outlier, and you just pretty much ignore it. So I always tell people, just assume that you're not going to get feedback. You really have to work to get it. So what do? Well, the whole notion of a complaint is a gift, is a way to look at that. Because what do we do when we receive a gift? What do? Well, we say,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
And that's a good way to start. I don't really like to script people. I don't like it. If you've got a few good expressions that use you and help you with your customers when they're upset, go ahead and you can script yourself. But I don't like to script other people, except on this notion of saying thank you. Is if you can get into the habit of every time somebody says something to you, to say thank you. You're at a grocery store and somebody bumps into you and they say, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. And you say, oh, that's okay, thanks. Just even if it doesn't feel appropriate, get into the habit of saying thank you. And we can talk about this, Tanya, a little bit later, but this really works in families as well. It works with our personal relationships.
Oh, I think we all could benefit from that conversation. How do you say thank you to your teenagers?
Yeah.
They seem to be really good at giving feedback.
Yeah. Well, you have to treat it with some seriousness. So let's take a teenager saying something that's they don't like, and teenagers are more willing to speak out to their parents.
I've noted.
Yes.
Anybody else on the call noted? Type me in the chat if you've noted.
They're willing to do it. So you want to treat it with seriousness. So when, let's say, Tanya, you've just said something, I don't like, whatever it is. And then you want to stop and really look at them. Slow the whole conversation down. Look at them and then say, you know what? I want to thank you for telling me that, because I know that wasn't easy for you to say that. And I can see it's been building up in you. That language, which is, I really appreciate how you've taken the time.
That you're acknowledging.
You're acknowledging them. I hear you, that whole expression of I hear you. You don't have to say that, but you want to demonstrate to them that you hear them and whatever their complaint is. And that holds true for our relationships as well.
Janelle,
yes.
I think a lot of times, and I want to bring up, because we're talking about, like one of my favorite books is Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits. And one of the principles is seek first to understand the other person before you're understood. Because I think a lot of times when people are complaining, sometimes it's not the real root of what's upset. Right. And you need to listen, give that feed, and kind of repeat back, like Stephen talks about, to go to the real purpose and what's really bugging them before anything can be solved.
That's right. Because what you don't want that to do is to go unstated. It goes unstated in relationships. And this is true for any business relationship, but certainly it's true for personal relationships. If you don't acknowledge that, if you don't talk about that, it just festers. And then you've got something where people are blowing up, or I mean, slowly but surely the relationship can erode. And if any of you have been through a divorce, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we can avoid those things. In my household, we say thank you a lot. We don't even say anything else. So I've done something. You forgot to do this. You didn't do this. You did that.
And I'm sorry.
Person says thank you.
Yeah. I generally go, thank you. And they know what I'm doing because they know what I'm
talking about. Of course.
They know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of a joke in the family, but what it does is it relieves the tension. And now we're talking about what it is. I shouldn't have forgotten. You're right. Absolutely. You're right. I shouldn't have forgotten. And if you want to say what you're going to do, fine, go ahead and do that. But the important thing is you want to acknowledge that they've just said something that's important to them.
You brought it, so Tanya, you brought up something very interesting, because it's like, for our customers, our clients, it's about the ones we don't get, the listing appointment, the buyer interview, and it doesn't work out. Getting the feedback from those people, honest feedback of why you lost the deal or why you didn't get them as a client, why they didn't sign up for you, to me is the most valuable to see where we went wrong. But but once you have a client, usually then now you're going down this path of trying to keep them happy, but or sometimes they just go away because it's not a good fit.
That's right.
What are some, Janelle, what would you suggest to try to get when you find out you didn't get the deal, you didn't get to get feedback from the other party so that you can improve?
And you could call them on the phone. Are you saying that? You could do that?
Yeah.
You could do a voice conversation with them. I mean, maybe you'll even have a person-to-person conversation. Yeah. And just, you can say, well, I'm interested in growing my business and I didn't get yours. And I just want to know why that happened. What was it? Was it something that I did, or was it a better offer from the other person? What was it? Give them some opportunities to say some easy things first, because it really, when we were little, we heard so many words about not saying bad things. They said, if you can't say something good, then don't say anything at all. There's a whole bunch of those expressions that we grew up with. And I think women get it more than men did when they were little. I mean, boys are allowed to explore more than girls are. The whole idea is that a girl had better be nice or she's not going to get a husband. I mean, that whole thing it's deep within our culture. And so we have to look at ourselves. I'm pretty good at giving feedback at this point, though I must say I evaluate what I'm going to say, because I don't want to attack somebody. I don't think, and especially I think in the real estate business, you guys are nice. That's my experience, because you've got a lot writing on your,
well, we like this kind of feedback.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a lot writing on what it is that you say to them. The whole deal could fall apart. You could have spent a year with somebody and then the whole deal falls apart. So there's a real strong tendency to stay nice, and nice is not a bad thing, but it's not the only thing by any means. Let me give you one quick example. There's a big real estate company. They're big builders, and you probably know who I mean, and I'm just blocking on their name. I don't have to say their name. Anyway, there was some research done with them, and what they found was that once you've got that client, once you've got them in place, they're going to evaluate you on your speed. That's extremely important to apparently to people who are buying houses. You want things fast. You want that offer fast. You want whatever else it is that you do for them. You want that fast. I want to have my open house fast. That's the evaluation primarily. They've already established that you're going to be their agent, but now they want you to, excuse me, I live in the desert. It's so dry here. Who else lives in the desert? What do we have? Anybody else who's in
Karen, Joanne. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas is all desert, isn't it? I know we don't think about it that way, but it's a very dry climate.
So Janelle, there's times when we have a client
Yes,
who's driving us crazy. And we want to go like, okay, I'm done. I need a divorce here because
right.
even though I want the money, my sanity's more, and you
Yeah.
need to break up. But where do you balance that? And because customer service is important to a point of you're not worth it. You're not worth the client.
That's right. Well, you have to make that decision yourself. And let's say that you've decided, I don't want to work with this person. You've already invested some time and energy in with them. And so now you need to tell them, but you want to tell them in a way that doesn't completely ruin the relationship. I mean, it's still always there as a possibility. So something like, I'm really concerned that we're just not communicating very well. And I'm wondering if perhaps the best thing to do is I can recommend another agent for you, or you can find another agent yourself. But that's what I'm feeling. I don't
Give
know.
them to an agent that you don't like. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, it's tempting. All these things are so tempting because they wounded us and we want to get back. The whole reciprocity, you did this to me, I'm going to do this to you. But ultimately, they go out and they talk. Now, but if I said to you, let's say, John, you and I weren't getting along, I said, I really just think that our communication styles is just not working here, and that it might be better for you to find another agent, or for me to help you find another agent so that you're satisfied. And but you want to make it easy because they go out and talk,
Yeah.
and they talk to 2, 3 people that they know are looking to sell their homes. You may have lost that business. That's significant.
Yeah. The power of bad press and word of mouth.
Right.
What do you do for reviews? What if someone's given a bad review and it's out there?
And
Online.
and they do that online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you address that?
Yeah, there's been growing research on online feedback. Um, it's dangerous. It really is dangerous. I mean, what's when you look at all the feedback that's out there on various things, what's the first thing you look at?
As far as the channel, like Google Business
No, as
Reviews
far
or
as
Yelp.
far as the feedback that is there, is it the positive feedback or is it the negative feedback? What do you look at first?
The I
The negative, come on. We
Yeah.
look for that
Yeah,
desperately.
yeah. You look at the negative feedback first. That's what you do. And so what you have to do is you have to you have to deal with that. So the question is here's one of the questions is a group of Harvard researchers looked at 10 million feedback pieces online. Now, that is huge. Most research that's done in customer service, they look at like maybe a few hundred or a couple thousand, but over a million. I mean, it's just, and all of that's happening because of AI. And they can access it quickly and they can do analysis quickly. So that's something we have to deal with. So then they ask the question, looking at all this research, you've got a list online: positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, negative. You've got a variety. Of course, you're not going to get that many, are you? Because you're just dealing with one person. It's not like you're a hotel.
Right. I don't know any realtors that have a million reviews.
Right. Well, no,
We'd all love
it would
that.
not be an individual. These Harvard researchers were looking at
Yeah.
the whole field of hospitality. That's what they were looking at.
Uh-huh.
But let's say you've just got one. Where do those appear? Where do those?
Oh, they got Yelp, they got Google, they've got all over the place reviews that people can go and
And
review.
generally, when they put it on one spot, do they put it on several others? Is that what
If they're mad, yes.
if they're mad?
If they're not mad,
Really
no.
bad.
Right. Okay. Well, here's what these Harvard researchers said. First thing that you should do is to address the negative feedback. You always want to respond to that. Anything that is positive, let it sit up at the top of these feeds for feedback, because typically those feeds will do is they will stay there until you respond to it. So you want those positive, any thought positive feedback, you want it to stay up there. So with you, it might be 4 or 5 clients. You've got 5 clients who are responding to you. 4 of them say something positive, 1 says something negative. Go for that negative one immediately. Leave the positive one sit up there because other people will read that. Those are the ones we don't read. We're reading those negative ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. And just think, oh, and then it hurts us. It ruins it. I mean, it really, look what happened to my day. I got this negative feedback. So respond to the negative feedback. And you want to respond with thank you so much. You want to start with that thank you always. Always start with thank you. Here's the reason why thank you is so important, because you're breaking up a communication chain. So the communication chain has gone negative, 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 negative. Put a thank you in there, and the chain has now been broken for the negative, and it goes to the positive. And it's the simplest way to begin to create a little shift in how the conversation is going. So you've got the negative feedback online, so then you say, thank you so much for letting me know I didn't know. I mean, own it. Own it. Not that you didn't tell me or whatever.
I love that.
All those reasons why we don't like people. So thank you so much for letting me know. And it shouldn't have happened. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help you get the information that you need. You don't want to ever make it totally a sales call, but you want to tell them what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And then, so if it's possible, I'd like to talk to you. That would be better, I would think, because you're used to talking with this person.
Yeah.
It's not as if this.
I love the breaking the chain, breaking
yes,
the negative loop.
Break that chain
with that.
So
thank you.
Make an offer to them.
Right.
Is it possible that we can communicate? And then I don't know how would you write your number up there, or do you not want to expose your number to get?
Well, our numbers are very public because we welcome people to reach out to
our
us.
Numbers out there.
We're kind of begging. We would pay people to take our numbers.
Exactly.
So you have more than one number. Clearly, you want the number that everybody can reach, and then the number that
we put our number in every possible location.
Everywhere. Not the bathroom stalls yet, but yeah.
I don't know. Anybody here going to fess up to that?
As a result of that, I just get so much spam. I don't know about you, but it makes me think sometimes I should just
definitely do.
Oh, I mean, I will easily get 6 to 10 spam calls a day, and then I get all of course, all the email spam. It's just.
And then when you get those spam calls, when you answer, do you say thank you?
Do you think what? Thank you?
Do you say thank you?
Yes. What does it cost you? What does it cost you to say thank you if you're trying to break if you're trying to get into a position where you can really begin to communicate, and then you want to address the issues. Now, can I ask you, what is it that bothered you about our communication? So you see, you really want to open yourself up to. They're never going to tell you everything. They're never.
Yep. All right, Mavis, I see you have your hand raised.
I was just going to say that whole thing with the phone calls. Janelle, one thing that happens to us is we get tons of phone calls from people who are trying to sell us leads. And it's relentless. We get so many calls. And I always say, oh, thank you so much for calling. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not interested in that service. So I always start with thank you for calling. I think what John and Tanya brought up earlier is the more difficult thing when this is many years ago, I had a client, I felt like I was working my butt off for her. I mean, I was just bringing her to house after house after house and all this. And then one day I'm driving down the street and I see she's moving into a house around the corner from me. After she had told me, I want to take a break, I don't know, I'm going to Italy, blah, blah, blah. And then I drive down the street and she's moving into a house. And I called her and I said, like, what happened? And she said, you weren't very interested in me. I was like, what? She was like one of the most expensive buyers I had. And it was such a blowback for her to say I didn't pay much attention to her. I wasn't very interested in her. It's just, Sometimes
at
it's
that
just
point,
you're miffed.
yeah, at that point, it's really good to say, I'm so sorry that that happened. I wasn't aware that this was going on with you, and I strongly apologize. Could you tell me what is it that I was doing that made you think that I wasn't interested? You're going to learn something from these people. I mean, really, this is such a people business that you're in. And so the moment that they can give you any kind of feedback at all that would help you, they might say, well, when I called you, you were taking other phone messages, or you were whatever it is that they say to make them. Then you want to take a look at that. Is that happening? Yeah. Um,
I think, and Mavis, I've been in the situation. And again, but not to argue, not to, counterpunch, just listen and say, okay, you want to get as much. And then you need to weigh that shit and
yes.
say, is it really, or are they just bullshit? And sometimes it's just bullshit and it wasn't a good match. And
Mhm.
get that shit out, call someone, get all that poison out and move on. But
But
just not to
it,
try to argue with them right then.
I think, John, it is to understand that the whole business of buying real estate is just such a challenging issue for the buyer. I mean, it's really, now, I'm not that kind of person. I'm the kind of person who I look at a house, if I like it, okay, I'll take it. My husband and I buy like that. You would love me.
I want you as a client, Janelle.
Yes,
You
we
would
all want you as a
like
client, Janelle.
the house
I'm
that I'm
sending over
in
a buyer
now.
broker right now.
Yeah, the house that we are living in now in Albuquerque, we bought online, literally.
I love those big windows behind you.
I know. Look at that.
Yeah.
Esther, you have a question?
I do. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Janelle. I'm wondering, how do you deal with it emotionally? So you get feedback and it really hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
how do we find that peace inside of ourselves to
Right.
actually see it as a gift rather than being
Right.
upset, being mad at ourselves, taking it hard, being self-critical, or getting angry or shutting down? Like, how do we deal with that
Okay.
piece to be able to then approach it with actually curiosity versus
Right.
bitterness, fear, anger?
Yeah. I would suggest two things. First of all, wherever the anger comes from us or from them, I mean, yours would be, you're not going to show yours that much, but maybe you're not going to, but maybe they're really exploding to you. What they're saying to you is that this is important to me. That's what anger is. This is important. If it wasn't important to them, they would get angry. Yeah, just think about that. I mean, it's important to them. So that's where you want to dig, is to, I hear that this is really important to you, and I want to understand that. Always owning it back. Now, for yourself, if you adopt that attitude towards anger, don't take it personally. They're saying something to you that you're not getting, that you're not hearing, that's important to them. It's always a good idea to just hear importance is what you're hearing. You're just, it's important then, and especially when it comes to buying real estate, it's really, I doubt that any real estate deal has no importance. I mean, they're all important, aren't they?
They are. It's the biggest financial decision of most people's lives. It really is. And we need to,
Yeah.
I want to make a comment. It's not a real question, but I just to kind of talk about this topic a little bit is that one thing I've learned is that when you're sitting down with a client for the first approach, the first sit down is to find out what's the most important things in this that's what's their hot point? Is it communication? Is it this? Is it this? And asking the question is like, you've bought and sold a house before. Janelle, what are some of the issues that you had problems that you weren't happy with in the experience before? And they're going to tell you the problems that they had, and that tells you instantly what not to do. Is it they didn't communicate? Was it this? And then because it's about not being perfect. And I think you talked about this a little bit, but it's not about being the perfect relationship, but doing everything perfectly, but having a connection with them so that you're building that relationship and you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be perfect on those few things that they're hot points on.
Right. Yeah, because relationships are all relationships are like that, whether we're buying and selling or whether we're living with somebody or we're even going to the grocery store. They're all those relationships are important. And I want to come back to that, but there was a second question in who I'm looking at. Who was it that asked that last question?
Esther, or in the chat, or Esther
And on up here on the screen,
on the
Yeah,
chat.
Esther, me.
raise your hand so I can see where you are.
I have a plant
Maybe at the
behind
top
me.
of your screen.
Because the first question we were talking about the important, what anger says is important. The second thing I would say to you, and this is a really good thing to look at, watch a few basketball games. And what you will see is, those people get slapped around, and those are big guys. So when they're falling, they're really falling. They hurt themselves when they fall. And so something happens, and you can see them. They're instantly angry. But what they've got to do, and they learn to do this all the way through their careers, is the moment that something like that happens, you let it go and you get on to the next shot. Because if you're still holding on to the anger over here for what happened, or whatever name they might have called your mother or whatever, and all the things that they do to each other to upset the opponent, is you got to get back into the game, because if you don't, you will not take that next shot well. It just won't happen. And I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to learn how to be basketball players. We've got to learn how to be football players. We've got to learn how to be these heavy, intensive sporting activities where people are getting hurt, where people are getting attacked, and yet they go right on. I mean, do you ever watch them and wonder how the heck do they do that? Well, their coaches talk a lot about that to them. Let it go, go on to the next one, go on to the next one. And I know you don't get as many of those as a basketball or a football player gets in their games, but it's the same principle. Let it go so you can get on to the next step in that relationship, to the next step in what has to happen when you're selling a piece of property. Just always are going on to that. At the same time, you don't want to go so fast that you miss out what was said before, because that's important. It's a little bit different in the sporting games. But does that make sense to you?
A great coach once said, "Be the goldfish." Ted Lasso. So you have a short memory, and that you
Yes.
forget what happened, you move on, go on.
Yeah. And you'll see them at the end, when they do the interviews with them, or they come off they hug each other. Now you can see when they're still angry, but mostly they just hug each other and they go on, because this is another game.
They let it go.
They let it go.
As Phil just said, let them.
Let it
Yeah.
go.
Little Mel Robbins. Yep.
But
I love
think
the
of-
sports analogy. Do you
Yeah.
have some athletics in your background?
Not really, just personal. I mean, swimming, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Running, but not ever any team activity. I'm not so sure I would be so good at letting it go. Honestly, I don't. I would have to work at it. But I know it's good advice. I know that.
It's always good to give good advice instead of taking it.
Right.
I
But
get so much advice from Tanya.
I mean, I get it, because what people do for me when I give a speech is they write feedback. And I tell you, I get some unbelievable feedback. I remember the one, here I am. I remember the feedback that said, "She's too tall." I'm
Rita.
almost 6 feet.
Oh,
She's too tall.
how tall are
Excuse
you?
me. I can't, almost 6 feet. I
Oh,
can't
wow.
change that. But
I don't think there's
still,
any such thing as being too
Here's-
tall. I
here-
know
I
many
read-
people
I
who wish
read
they were
that and I think,
taller.
what
Yeah.
is wrong
Some people
with
wish
these-
I were taller. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish, and what
I
is
was
wrong
looking at
with
you.
people that they give that kind of feedback? I want them to give me good feedback. I mean, I don't mean positive, but I want them to give me feedback I can do something about.
Something that makes sense, that you have some
Something that
control
makes sense, that's
over.
right. But obviously, there's something that I did to that person. This is how I always come back to that example, or something I did to that person that annoyed them, that pissed them off, and now they're going to take out on my height.
Rita, I see you got your hand up.
I just wanted to make a comment. I always ask for feedback or testimonials post, closing. And I've only had one bad review in my career, 15 plus years. And he wouldn't say at first what it was. And I had to like stalk him for a couple of weeks. Really want to talk to you about, why you refused to give me a testimonial or review. How do you deal with the HGTV effect?
Mm.
He's relocating to Atlanta. He thought I was going to pick him up in a limo. He thought should wear like really big heels every day, bandeau dresses. This is the feedback he gave me. You weren't dressed like I thought you
You
were going to
thought
be.
you were going to be selling on Sunset?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Wow.
selling on Sunset is not going into a crawl space and making sure that, basement is dry, etc. So how do you deal? I did thank him for giving me the
Mhm.
feedback. And then, that did make me, for future clients, set expectations. Not going to drive you in a limo. No, you know what I mean? I just was like, this is how it
Yes,
usually
yes.
goes.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's so important what you're saying, and that is to set expectations, because what bad customer service is you didn't meet my expectations. That's what bad customer service is. And so what you want to do is to find out and then let's go back to the sporting analogy. When you get negative feedback, let it go, because that's not what you're offering in any case. What you're offering is something else. Yeah, it sure makes you wonder if there isn't something else going on, though. It sure makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. He was, yeah.
Going for your high heels is an easy way
No,
to.
he definitely, I wear wedges, and he wanted me to have real heels on. I'm like, I don't know which I do
This isn't a
wear.
dating service that you're buying a house.
Yeah,
Is that
I
what you're saying?
know. I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
that should be part of the pre-buyer
The
questionnaire.
reality
And yet
is,
Exactly.
Rita is the one who shows up on all of our Zoom calls, the best
I
dressed,
know
You
she's
are.
done
You're,
beautiful
up,
and
hair,
everything. So that's
makeup,
yeah,
glamour girl.
exactly.
Only because it's 9 a.m. here.
There's that. There's that.
looking at you,
Love
you
it.
look like a very sophisticated,
She
solid
is.
person.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Rita, I want to
If
add
somebody is
something too.
attacking you because of your high heels or what, no, not bringing you a limousine, something else
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I actually think Rita,
Or,
his
or
feedback.
I'd learn to make a joke. If you get something that's consistent like that, well, I make my husband wear high heels. Is that okay?
Yes.
I want to go down that rabbit hole with you, Janelle.
Oh
What you
no.
just said.
Oh no. Well, Janelle, I want to say thank you. We are ending our time, and I just want to, we do this kind of fun, we call it rapid
Okay.
6 at 6. Just some fun questions. Oh, was there something? Did I miss something?
Someone was on mute. I just muted him.
Oh, so if you don't mind, we just have some fun questions.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with, do you have anything on your bucket list that you want to do in the future?
I want to finish this book I'm working on, because I've been working on it for 2 years now. It's 500 pages long. It's called Listen, Learn, or Lose, and it's for managers. And I'll tell you, if I could just take a moment to say this, all the years that I've been working in the field of customer service and the books that I've written that have been bestseller books, I honestly believed that people would start following my advice and the whole problem of bad complaint handling would go away. Can you imagine being that naive? I really honestly believed that. And then I began to understand the problem is not with the people who are complaining or the people who are handling the complaints. That's not the biggest part of the problem. The biggest part of the problem is the corporate culture. It's or industry culture. What is it that's going on on a much higher level that's contributing to all of this problem with complaint handling? And that's where I'm addressing it now. I think I'll have more impact that way. So that's my bucket list, is to finish that thing.
That's great. I think we can all relate. I raise your hand if many times you said, if only they would listen to me.
Yeah, right. Well,
Buyers and sellers alike, if only they would have listened.
Yes, right.
I get that from Robin a lot too.
Oh, from Robin. Yes.
Yeah.
Spouses as well. Absolutely.
Another fun question. What
Yes.
do you have?
Yes.
Was that you?
Oh, go ahead.
No, did you have another question?
Absolutely. Okay, so if you could live in a beach house or a mountain house, which one would you choose?
Mountain.
Oh. Are you kind of a woodsy girl?
I think
No.
you're looking to buy a new house.
Yeah.
Are you?
No, we're going to stay in this one.
We might know a realtor for you.
Yeah.
This house is 8,500 square feet.
Oh my hell.
That's
We
a
have
big
our,
place.
this is my office. This is my office in the house.
That's the size of most people's homes out here.
The
That's
office.
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna die in this house, and I'll be happy to do that. I mean, it's really I just keep moving to better and better. I've always wanted a big house. When I was a child, I had to share a bedroom with my two sisters, share a bed with my two sisters
Yeah.
in the middle. So I always had to sleep between them. And the one thing I wanted in my life was to have space around me where nobody else was there. It was just too crowded. There were 7 of us in this little small house, and I just kept moving. As I moved through my real estate, I just keep moving to bigger and bigger properties. And this one, I mean, how much bigger do I need to get than 8,500 square feet? This is a big house.
Definitely got some space there.
It is.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is the best advice somebody gave you?
Best advice? Oh boy, I have been given so much advice. But I would say right now, just talking with you, that the best advice that I have, and I've used it in my own relationships as well, is to forgive, and to forgive fast. It just doesn't help us to hold on to things. It's kind of like the metaphor, the football player, the basketball player, they're letting go, they're forgiving, we're going on. This is just the game. And I think that's critical. Just let go. I mean, I have to forgive my husband a lot of things, and I don't get angry at them. I just say thank you and move on. And we move on, and have been married now for almost 50 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, yes,
I love
yes.
that. Forgive and forgive
It's
fast.
not easy to do that in this world.
Yeah. All right. Favorite kind of
I like-
ice cream?
Yeah. What's my favorite ice cream?
Favorite ice cream?
I like the Tillamook brand. I
Ooh.
really, if you've not tried the Tillamook brand, I would highly advise it. It's so good.
It
And I
is.
like the ones with the fruit in it. I like the dark cherries. I like the strawberries. I like the peach.
Yum.
Makes me think we've got some in the refrigerator right now. Maybe
I'll
I'll
bet
go-
you do.
I'll
Yeah.
have some for breakfast.
What are you going to do right after this call?
I've got another call, somebody who wants me to do some customer service work for them, and I think she's going to call me, and I'm going to take that call and see if I can't get that business. Yeah.
You got this.
Well, thank you for the
Right.
call today. Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I
No,
know there were
thank you.
lots of great tidbits. There's lots of thank yous in the chat. And I think this was very timely. Somebody said those words exactly. And we don't want to hold you up so that you can get on that next call. But thank you so much.
Betty,
for
give
Can
a
I
shout out.
just say hi?
Thank
Can
you
you
for
see me?
asking me to participate.
Oh, hi.
Do you see Betty?
Yes,
That's
there's
Betty.
Hi.
Know you.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear
We
me?
were in a group together
Yes.
called the Golden Gate Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
I
Great
miss
to
it
see
so
Thank you for
much.
the intro, Betty.
You're welcome. Janelle is fabulous. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
are you, Betty. Okay.
We appreciate everyone so much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're so grateful that each of you are in our lives, and you mean so much to us. You really do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay, Paul.
everyone.